Macmillan Audio presents Without Fear by Colonel David Hunt and R.J. Pineiro. Read for you by P.J. Ochlan. Courage is fear holding on a minute longer. General George S. Patton. Prologue. September 1988, Kandahar Province, southern Afghanistan. I hate this fucking country. Mikhail Tupolev glared at the starry night beyond the armor glass canopy of his Su-25TM jet cruising at 20,000 feet, feeling anxious to exit the airspace of this god-forsaken land. The Red Air Force colonel hated its people, its customs, its food, its climate, and its infernal terrain. From scorching deserts and wind-whipped plateaus to icy mountains and treacherous caves, everything about Afghanistan was harsh, bitter, unforgiving, and particularly cruel. It was hell on earth, truly the land that God forgot. And Mikhail cursed the day his country chose to invade it. But above all, the Soviet pilot hated the Mujahideen. Down to my fucking bone marrow. Mikhail tightened his grip on the control column of the Sukhoi close-air support jet. Visions of maimed bodies were superimposed on the star-filled sky surrounding the wide-angle heads-up display, painting the center of his canopy with flight telemetry. Those ruthless insurgents, bearded sons of the devil, weren't content with simply killing Mikhail's comrades. The zealous bastards took pleasure in brutalizing young Soviet men in ways that had forever scarred his soul. And sometimes, the Mujahideen would even lack the decency of finishing them off, leaving them alive for rescue crews to face the horror of their wounds. Images of the scourged and writhing bodies of his friends crying in agony as they arrived at Kandahar pierced Mikhail's mind like burning splinters, disturbing memories stabbing what semblance of sanity he had left. They dominated his days, and especially his nights, when demons armed with long and curved Peshkab's knives crawled out of the darkest corners of his mind. But it was his survivor's guilt that ate him from the inside like a ravenous cancer. Mikhail had lasted 6 years in Afghanistan, while everyone in his flight unit had succumbed to the dreaded Stinger missiles. Or worse, they had managed to eject into the mad world rushing beneath the Sukhoi, while holding 400 knots in a westerly heading of 280 degrees. But the madness ends tonight. By dawn, he would land at Astrakhan, North Caucasus Military District. Home to the Soviet Air Force 116th Combat Training Center, Astrakhan marked the place where the battle-hardened pilot would make a much-welcome transition to flight instructor. The reality, however, was that Mikhail would have welcomed any redeployment. Anywhere but here. Though he had to admit that getting the opportunity to pass on everything he had learned to a new generation of pilots, including his experience of years at the Gagarin Air Force Academy, certainly felt like a second lease on life. Mikhail glanced at the class ring adorning his right hand holding the control column, and slowly filled his lungs with the hope of a new beginning, a new dawn away from this place. He also looked forward to the opportunity to see Irina, his wife, and also his daughter, Kira, who had just been accepted to the KGB Academy in Minsk, when he'd kissed them goodbye on the eve of his deployment. The 40-year-old pilot sighed. That was yet another reason to hate this country. The Afghan campaign had kept Mikhail from his family, especially from watching Kira graduate and become a promising KGB officer, currently on her first assignment in East Berlin. But all of that was about to change. Irina waited for him at Astrakhan, and as chief instructor, he would have
Sample complete. Ready to continue?